USC hires a new athletic director, and the LA Times mansplains the job. The Trojans also landed the #1 prospect in football for 2026, and we're going to continue to build a case for the new look Rams offensive line. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. I would have posted earlier, but we literally just had breaking news on the Trojans, which we will get to in just a moment. It is August 22nd, 2023, and we added a new subscriber to the Angeleno Familia. I totally appreciate every last one of you for getting in on the ground floor of this little project. If you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment, because there's always good stuff to talk about when it comes to LA. Before we go through the news and notes, look at the scoreboard. Yesterday, none. Nada. Pretty relaxing as we all dug out from the storm. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at Cleveland this afternoon, and this is a fine how do you do. Noah Syndergaard, remember him? Yeah, he has compiled a 1-2 record with a 5.06 ERA since the Dodgers sent him to the Guardians. The Dodgers are going to counter with Bobby Miller, who is 7-2 with a 3.70 ERA. But let's get to the stories, particularly USC. Explosive day over at Heritage Hall. USC hired Jennifer Cohen as the athletic director, who replaces the retired Mike Bohn. Now, she comes by way of Washington, and she was actually quite effective for the Huskies, particularly in football, in multiple ways. For example, she fundraised $50 million from the locals to rebuild that stadium that they have. In addition to that, when the Huskies started to fall a couple of years ago, she made the decision to hire Kalen DeBoer, who has made as almost rapid a rebound in Huskies football as Lincoln Riley did for USC. Look at the AP preseason poll. Washington is top 10. That is something that Cohen did. Now, she's also part of the College Football Playoff Committee, but that might be in jeopardy. Consider that the Trojans are about to go to the Big Ten. That conference already has 2 ADs on that committee. So, is she going to be included, or does she have to resign the post? We'll see. You are going to hear a lot, if you haven't already, about how this is the first female athletic director in USC history. And I'll be completely frank with you. I don't care. I really don't. I think she simply deserves the gig on merit. That's good enough for me, because a lot of the attention that she paid to when she was up north was on the football team. USC is a football school. So you don't have to teach her, hey, everybody, this is what first down. She already knows what a touchdown, what first down, she already knows. So there is no need to sit there and mansplain the whole thing, but we'll get to the LA Times doing that in just a moment. She'll have deeper pockets with USC than she ever could have imagined up at Washington. And hopefully she has an idea or two about the whole name, image, and likeness rules also for collectives. She said that's going to be a priority to her. But that did not stop the LA Times. By the way, these are all intelligent things that she's talking about bringing all of Trojans athletics into the future. So she knows what she's doing. But that did not stop the LA Times from mansplaining what Cohen's primary job is. Hey, don't forget to keep Lincoln Riley happy. No kidding. No kidding. I've never met Ms. Cohen, but I would wager that her eyes rolled out of her sockets when she read that piece of wisdom. Keep Lincoln Riley happy. No kidding. I'm guessing when she read that, she was like, wow, I would have never thought of that. I was too busy watching the Barbie movie on my laptop and dancing around my new office to Taylor Swift. She has a reputation, a solid one, that she earned. Why should we care what her gender is when we are very confident that this lady can do the job? And besides that, USC has had, let's be real, a few sketchy men running the show recently. And by the way, did you notice that a day before in the LA Times, they ran a story? What's an update on USC's athletic director search? They listed 3 candidates that they knew were under consideration. None of them was Cohen. None of them. Maybe, just maybe, the writers at the LA Times need to be mansplained what it takes to break a story, instead of trying to mansplain to Ms. Cohen that her primary job is to keep Lincoln Riley in the fold. Wouldn't you say? Completely off the damn radar, USC just gobsmacked the LA Times staff. And it wasn't just that one columnist who suggested about keeping Lincoln Riley happy. Another Times columnist, Dylan Hernandez, is insisting on accountability from USC President Carol Folt regarding the retirement of Mike Bone. Oh yeah, there was Hernandez. He tutted the tuttiest of tut-tuts. Oh, the tisk-tisking. Oh, the finger wagging. The judgment, the smugness. And we know Dylan Hernandez was being smug because all his commentary was about him. About how Folt wouldn't talk to him. How Folt wouldn't bow down to him. It was about his feelings getting all hurt over his feelings getting hurt over Carol Folt. Look, this is Journalism 101. I realize I'm not trying to talk down to anybody, right? I spent more than half my life running after stories as a newspaper reporter. Journalism 101, you are not the story. You're never the story. The moment that you take the spotlight off your subject and put it on yourself, you are no longer a reporter. You no longer deserve your gig. If you want some accountability, by the way, Mr. Hernandez, here's some accountability. Bone's out of a job. That's the accountability. Now, if your reporters or you can actually come back and say that Mike Bone had this 7-figure golden parachute dropped on his lap after allegedly acting like Captain Creepo next to Tommy Trojan, then sure, that's something to write about. That is something that would require accountability. But you haven't established anything about what Mike Bone got in his retirement. For all you knew, he basically got a pink slip and somebody Googled the directions to the local unemployment office. That's the Times, I swear. But you, Mr. Hernandez, being a UCLA graduate, complaining about being stonewalled, I see through you. I have my 25 years of journalism experience to tell you that I see through you. Your paper made newsroom cuts, and it's abundantly clear that they kept way too many columnists and opinion hacks as opposed to somebody who would actually go out and find legit news. One other thing about the LA Times and SC. I am aware that yet another LA Times columnist is predicting that the USC football team will go undefeated this year. Look, guys, don't put a lot of stock into it. Bill Plaschke is the Flavor Flav of sports journalism. Straight up. The Trojans have also received a commitment from Julian Lewis, who is the top player in the nation for 2026. This is according to 24/7 Sports. He's a quarterback from Carrollton, Georgia. Now, this is one of those stories that, should be exciting, and it is exciting, but let's be real, he's a sophomore in high school, so it also feels a little cringe when you read about it. It's not that he's a bad guy or USC's a bad guy. You're like, dude, he's barely 14 and 15, and some group of grown-ass men decided he would be the exalted athlete of the entire nation. That's a little weird. He was considered a can't-miss star at the age of 14. Now look, if Lewis follows through on his commitment, you have to be real. USC and Riley have this striking lineage of quarterbacks that will last for years now. Caleb Williams, current Heisman winner, probably leaves USC at the end of this year. Going straight to Malachi Nelson, who will get a couple of years. And then after that, straight to Lewis. USC at quarterback is set up now for a long time if Lewis follows through. And by the way, if Lewis hits the books hard, he might reclassify to the class of 2025. The odd thing is Lewis cannot make it official and sign on the dotted line for more than a year from now. Question for you. How many times does an athlete have to get recognized before he's like, I totally don't care? You know, kind of like a chick who's had so many guys ogling her that she eventually says, look, my eyes are up here, right? I bring that up because USC quarterback Caleb Williams was named a preseason All-American. The guy with the Heisman, preseason All-American. Wow, what a special occasion. I can imagine it's literally like giving a flower to a girl and she's like, oh, how sweet of you. You're so special. I mean, I just imagine Caleb Williams putting every sports writer in the friend zone this year, straight up. I want to support a thesis that I've had over the last few days that the Rams' offensive line is settling in a little bit. And this matters because we know that their offensive skill positions are most definitely set. And we also know that they need to make sure that Matthew Stafford stays healthy. Going back to the Rams game Saturday against the Raiders, the highest rated player, according to Pro Football Focus for that game from the Rams, was left tackle Alaric Jackson. Left guard Steve Avila's pass blocking grades, by the way, were tremendous. Run blocking, not so much. But you could at least say that from center to the left side of the Rams offensive line, maybe there's something there. Maybe. Then I started to take a peek at the possible starting offensive line overall, and there's something else to take note of. They're heavier. On average, the Rams starting offensive line weighs about 316 pounds. That is 10 more than last year's team. Now, I don't know if that means that Sean McVay is going to back off of the zone blocking that he prefers in the running game, maybe mix in some more power schemes, but there is a distinct lack of finesse with this line, a little bit more grit than recent Rams lines. So there is that. CBSSports.com also rated all the NFL running back rooms. We've been talking about how CBS has all these clickbait stories about the NFL until the season starts, but this is something interesting. The Rams are described as a 70-30 room, which means that Cam Akers will get about 70% of the plays. But there's a caveat. They see this as Akers' last chance audition to stay with the Rams, maybe even with the NFL, that Kyren Williams simply isn't ready yet. Dodger Stadium looked flooded to me. I'm sure you saw the photos online that basically made it look like the entire field was like about 3 feet underwater or something like that. Some say Dodger Stadium was flooded, some say it wasn't. I even saw some rando from Texas claim that the flood was the hand of God because the Dodgers recognized the LGBTQ community earlier this year. And the grand scheme of things, totally don't care. Because even if it was flooded, the team is out of town, and we have this thing called the sun that's been known to, dry things. It's very effective. You know, if the power goes out, you could at least hang your duds on a line out there, and they'll eventually dry. I mean, my God, there are people in the Inland Empire without power, and some jackasses want to make some sort of apocalyptic point about too much water at a baseball stadium. Don't want to go too deep on the theology for you guys, but God has bigger fish to fry than flooding a baseball stadium. Just saying. The Athletic has dropped the LA Kings minor league system all the way to 20th in the NHL. Now, for a couple of years, LA was right up there at the pinnacle. Even one year, they were the undisputed best. Last year, they'd fallen to 10th because some of the players had graduated from the minors up to the NHL. Now, technically, this is a ranking of prospects aged 23 and younger. So Quentin Byfield is still on that list of elite prospects. Matter of fact, the top 5 players that the Athletic listed have all played in the NHL at some point. Brant Clark, Tobias Bjornfoot, Jordan Spence, Arthur Kaliev. Only 3 more prospects that the Athletic listed, though, are projected to definitely play in the NHL. There's a 2-way defenseman, Jakub Dvorak, defenseman Kirill Kirisanov, and winger Cone Zimmer. So the LA Kings' minor league system has taken a hit in the last year. Longtime goalie Jonathan Bernier retired after a 14-year career. Years ago, it was actually supposed to be him, not Jonathan Quick, who was supposed to lead the Kings. Bernier was the 11th overall pick back in 2006. Man, do I remember. Wow, I was so much younger then. Anyway, Bernier was larger than Quick. He supposedly had all the skills, all the tools. He wasn't terrible. Quick simply seized the job. Bernier was part of the 2012 Stanley Cup winning team. He wound up playing for 6 teams in his NHL career. Galaxy manager Greg Vanney said that under the right circumstances, and he emphasized there would be many circumstances, it is possible that Chicharito could return to play for the Galaxy next season. Guys, Chicharito's 35 and coming off major knee surgery. So the circumstances are cold day plus hell. Just saying. I'm skeptical. I mentioned the running back rooms in the NFL. The Chargers, according to CBS, is a one-man show. But they concede that Austin Eckler is not an elite back. Maybe that was one of the reasons, by the way, so far in preseason that Bolts fans were hyped about Elijah Dotson after that performance against the Rams. Dotson just came back last week and averaged only 3.5 yards a carry. So that was against the Saints in the second half. Look, one great half against the dregs on the Rams roster is not exactly launching your career. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about the new USC athletic director, or for that matter, a new quarterback. Tell me about the Rams offensive line. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.